All right then. It's been a while since we've done another video. I've just been taking a little break from doing videos on YouTube to focus on other things during this quarantine. But everything seems to be calming down right now. Just recently went to Costco and you can actually go in the store without having a long, extended line around the block and get your groceries as usual. And you have to go ahead and just have your mask on. Restaurants are starting to open again, and that's good for me since I'll be able to go back to work sooner than usual. Everything seems to be going back to normal now, which is great. But I wanted to bring up a subject that I thought about for a while, and I thought I came to a conclusion about relationships with people and the entire world for a number of years. And what I want to say in this video in these troubling times that's going for everyone is don't expect to save the world. Go ahead and work on saving yourself and improving upon yourself in these troubling times. And even just regardless, don't try to save everyone in your life, your friends and family, the entire world. Don't do it. Focus on you. Okay? Let me tell you a story in relation to this. Is that over a couple years ago, I was at the lowest point in my life. I brought this up in a number of my videos in the past, but I will bring this up again. This was about 2 years ago, and I was at the lowest point of my life. I was going through a lot of personal family problems, and I was not sure of myself and where I was going, and everything just seemed to be going to complete shit in my life. And I had a mental breakdown in which I was put by my family, my dad, my brother, in a mental hospital in nearby town called Indio where I live, and I was there for 2 weeks. I was 5150 for one night, and then I was put in a separate unit for people who were depressed and suicidal. And I got a good amount of help there, being around other people who were in I had all different types of stories to tell me of why they ended up getting there, and it made me feel as though I wasn't alone. But I knew still at that point I was not ready to go ahead and to go out into the real world and take it on. I still needed help. So eventually, what happened to me was I decided to put myself in the only program that was available to help me get back on my feet nearby where I lived, and that was going into a homeless shelter. And this was called the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission over in Indio, California. Because I heard in the mental hospital that they had a couple of rehabilitation programs that helped a lot of people get on their feet for the homeless and people who were in dire need and were at the lowest point of their life. So I decided to put myself into the program there. I was put in the back of the homeless shelter for one night where I was around all different types of characters, interesting characters. And it didn't matter. It seemed like a variety of people could become homeless, whether you're young or you're old, you're black or you're white or Hispanic or whatever. Being homeless I realize it affects a lot of different types of people. And this was all new to me. Sleeping on bunks, these little futons on these boats on the floor, and you eat food in the cafeteria, which wasn't necessarily the best, but was better than nothing. And you are surrounded by all different types of characters. You don't know what to do with yourself. But I knew that I'm here to get some help. So I went into see the mission where I was had two different programs. Two. One was called Gateway, which was a short-term secular program just for guys who are getting off the street. You get back on your feet, and they give you a volunteer job assignment to do while you're at the mission. You work in janitorial, or you work in security, or you work in the kitchen like I was doing, or you work in landscaping and variety of stuff. Just they keep you busy while you're staying there and you're taking advantage of their rehabilitation services. You also do meetings 5 days a week at least. And then also, by the time you move forward in your program, you are given the opportunity to do workforce development. So you can go ahead and find yourself a job, you look for work, and you have money saved up during a certain period for the remainder of your time while you're staying there from your job. So you can go ahead and move out on your own or maybe go into one of their sober livings. But when I was there in the Gateway program, and this is about less than a month, I was seeing all types of stupidity and laziness from everyone. It seemed as though a lot of guys were basically just there, not because they want to change, but because they're just there to hang out. There were a lot of guys that went off on the street and they wanted to stay in the program because it gave them a place to sleep, a place to eat, and a place to just hang out. They were not interested in basically taking advantage of the program and rehabilitating themselves. And a lot of the guys there, eventually, I would say about 85% of them that I've seen come and go, they did not make it. So, and what I noticed is that most of these guys, they went back into doing drugs, they went back to drinking alcohol, they went back to basically doing the stupid street shit, getting in trouble out in the streets, and they just don't want to adjust and change themselves to the structure of the program so that they can become more productive members of society. And seeing that, I just thought to myself, what the fuck am I doing here with all these stupid motherfuckers? I mean, I'm one of the very few people who's really being serious about changing his life around and taking advantage of the program. I mean, why can't these guys change? What am I, you know, you are here probably with the only opportunity in your life after your whole family, and I hear all these different stories from all these different guys, after your entire life of throwing it away, losing all your friends and all your family, and going to prison, going to jail, and living out in the streets, and just choosing to go ahead and pander and hustle and get money just so he can score on some drugs or some alcohol, and you're given the opportunity to restart in your life and change it around, and you just want to throw it all away? I was thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on? Like, I remember there was this one guy who I befriended at the back of the annex, with the annex being the rear homeless shelter where any person off the street can spend the night. And he was an older guy who was gay, but he had a problem with meth. And he seemed to be at first that he was serious about changing his life around and sticking with the program. And we became friends. We hung out, we talked together, we had similar interests and whatever. And, we eventually talked about, hey, when we get out of here, we should move in together and have an apartment. But then I started to see him hanging out with the wrong crowd. He was hanging out with the guys who were just basically that just always were getting into trouble, and they weren't being as serious about basically changing their behavior and their way of life. And then I started seeing him going down the wrong path. He wasn't showing up to his volunteer work assignment in the kitchen. He was always being late. He was being disrespectful to everyone at the mission and staff. And then eventually, what happened to him was we all got drug tested in the kitchen to see who it was that left a pipe in the bathroom, a meth pipe. And it turned out that it was him. And then he got kicked out, along with this other gay guy who was also, they were friends and they were doing drugs supposedly together. One of the things I learned seeing a lot of these guys come and go, even though they've had probably the only opportunity in their life to change, and to better themselves and to get back on their feet with the donations of people, rich millionaires and billionaires here in the Coachella Valley, to go ahead and help out those who are in need, who are homeless. People, they still don't want to go ahead and take advantage of of bettering themselves. And I was in this other program later on afterwards from Gateway into another program called New Life, which was much more strenuous and Christian based. You had to go through the Bible, through Proverbs every morning. You had to go through a workbook, studying the Bible and writing down what you think about what you are reading in the Bible. And you go to church outside the mission once a week on Sunday. But even though I'm not, God damn it, sorry. I don't have coronavirus, just a sneeze. Now, even though I'm not a religious person, I don't believe in the Bible as being true. It's just a bunch of fairy tales. Even though there's a lot of great moral principles within it, I knew that being there, I saw guys that were more serious about changing themselves and turning their life around. And even the case managers and people who worked there, a lot of them were actually graduates of the New Life program. So I went through the New Life program. I got out of it as much as I could from reading the Bible and going to church. And I was trying church out for a little bit, but it eventually wasn't for me. But I am very, very grateful for going into the mission and being able to get help, the help that I needed. But this is the thing that I realized when I was there. At one point during my stay in the mission, I realized this. I was very low still, and I wasn't too sure of myself. And I'm thinking, what do I do? Where do I go? I'm sitting in my bunk in the New Life dorm, and I'm feeling low and depressed, not too sure what to do with myself. What am I going to do for work? Where am I going to stay? I can't go with my family. My family wasn't willing to take me in at the time. But then it's like this voice inside of me, my inner intuition saying this, Ron, this is what you got to do. You got to trust in yourself and believe in yourself and understand that these people who are working to help you out are only facilitating you to help yourself. You cannot go ahead and expect to save everybody. You're seeing that's with most of the guys here. They can go ahead and come in and get their help, or they can go ahead and go back to what they were doing. That's up to them. But you don't have to do that because you know that you're much better. You know that you're someone who has more of a sense of a higher purpose in life. And what your higher purpose is to work on developing yourself intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. Not everyone is going to do that. You can't expect everyone to do it, but you can do that for yourself. And listening to this voice of higher intuition, I was able to go ahead and not only graduate from the program, but I was able to do pretty well for myself. I mean, right now at this point, I am technically unemployed. I have not been working at my job as a line cook at Red Lobster for the past couple months, and I'm staying with my father. But given the circumstances, what's going on, I'm in a pretty good place in life, And I'm taking advantage still at this time to go ahead and to invest into bettering myself and figuring out where my future is. I'm taking time out to really go ahead and to expand my horizons of developing who I am. Like, I like reading good books in which I can become more well-rounded as a person. Like this, The 7 Levels of Intimacy by Matthew Kelly. Great book on relationships and what relationships are supposed to be. This is a really good book in which this guy, Matthew Kelly, a relationship expert, he talks about how relationships are when people work together to help one another become the best version of what they can be. I've gotten started reading this other book, Soldier of Finance by Jeff Ross. He was a veteran of the military, and he also applies what he learned in the military to how you can better yourself financially. And I've been checking this out. I also read this book every morning, Path of Tranquility by the Dalai Lama. A lot of great, how can I say, affirmations to start the day, to develop yourself. And I also been checking out this one book called Hagakure, Secret Wisdom of the Samurai. Ancient book on samurai's wisdom about discipline, respect, and loyalty. See, and I realize this. Given that I'm a person who has more of a level head and shoulders that wants to make the best out of life and develop himself and to work hard, I find it hard to relate to a lot of people because most people are really not that way. I mean, if you were going to look at a lot of other people around my age, they basically are not thinking on the same, they're not choosing to think on the same level as I am. I'm not saying I'm smarter or I'm better than them, but I understand that life, that you cannot just waste life away. Like I've seen so many of these guys at the mission that go in and they squander the opportunity and they go back to ruining themselves with drugs and alcohol and what have you. And I'm not saying everyone else is like that, but I understand this, that a lot of people don't take advantage of the opportunity of life and to really developing yourself and developing yourself, you know? And I understand that I cannot reach out to everyone. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been doing a lot of videos on, I haven't done videos on YouTube lately, is because I basically have been going ahead and making videos about how about reaching out to people and offering my insight on life. And hopefully this will be able to help out others and other people would agree with me. But I come to understand this is that this type of content on YouTube is usually not very popular because a lot of people, not just on YouTube, but people in general, they don't want to be enlightened. They just want to be entertained. You know, they're living to not be bored. So it's like, how do you reach out to people to change themselves when they just want to be entertained? Like everything, a lot of things that I enjoy, I want to get something of substance out of it. When I'm eating my food, I want something that is much more healthy for my body. I've been watching what I eat. I exercise 5 days a week. You know, I read good books like this. I go out for walks. I go outside and play basketball and hang and meet other people like that. When I go to work, I go ahead and I take advantage of it as an opportunity to do the best that I can and to take it to the next level and investing into becoming more of a valuable asset to a company, not just so I can make more money, but just so also I can gain the knowledge and experience that I want to be able to create a business for myself. Well, most people don't take advantage of that. A lot of people are just, honestly, they're too stupid and lazy to do it. That's one of the main problems in this world, is that people don't take advantage in fully developing themselves because they're just too stupid and lazy to do so. And I've seen that with a lot of people who I thought were my friends, and even some people within my own family. You know, you try to go ahead and talk with them and consult with them and give them your truth, but it's like still people don't want to listen. And it's just, there's always going to be all this chaos and confusion in this world, hatred, violence. And I know there are people that say, oh, I want to change it all. I want there to be peace and love everywhere and make this world a better place in utopia. But at this point right now, I don't really care to do that. You know, at this point, I realize this. If you're someone who I've considered to be a friend, but I see you're going down the wrong path, and I try to talk with you and consult with you about steering yourself away from the wrong path, but you don't want to listen, I'm just going to let you go and you make your own mistakes. And if you end up in a really bad situation in life in which you're homeless or you're really down your luck, but you just chose not to listen and you just kept disregarding what I have to say, I know this may sound harsh, but sometimes with those people, you got to say, nope, I've done all I can to help you. But you got to go ahead and help yourself. You got to go ahead and save yourself. And that's the thing I realize with people is that the only way that there is going to be real change in society, in the world, is that people choose to change themselves from within. Just like I'm choosing to do that. What I realized when I was at the mission and talking to this like voice of higher intuition, I'm not saying it's like a spirit or God, but just being in touch with your higher sense of higher purpose and a direction in life. That's how people are really going to go ahead and change and realize that life is more than just about seeking pleasure. It's about expanding your sense of knowledge, your sense of personal fulfillment in life. So what else can I say? In these times, I know that a lot of people are going through a lot of troubles, and there's always going to be troubles. But if you're just going to go ahead and keep yourself sane and keep yourself away from other people's toxicity and stupidity and their insanity, honestly, the best thing that you can do is just stay away from all that. I can understand another reason why I choose to be alone, and a lot of good people I've known choose to be alone because they realize that they don't want to have to deal with other people's stupid and bad mistakes and their craziness with their life. They realize that I got to go ahead and save myself by not keeping myself caught up in all the troubles of the world, because the troubles of the world are caused by the bad decisions that people bring amongst themselves. An older friend of mine, I'm not going to say his name, but he said this to me. He said, to be normal is to be insane. And I can understand more so why it's that way now. It's that way now, given how I see what goes on with a lot of people I see every day, what I saw at the homeless shelter, what I've seen with people who are in my family and friends. People just choose to live insane lives. But I'd rather not do that. And the best thing that I realize that you can do when it comes to dealing with other people and their stupidity and their insanity is just tell it like it is. Give them your honest truth about what their situation is. And you don't get caught up in trying to please them and not trying to hurt their feelings. Because the best thing that you can offer people is the truth. That's why I choose to read these books. That's why I choose to keep an open mind. I kept an open mind when I was over at the mission and going through the New Life program, understanding the Bible. I tried it out. I got some stuff out of it, but it wasn't for me. I'm choosing to go ahead and understand what my truth in life is and bring on to others. But again, as I've said before, you can try to help others out and give them your wisdom, but a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. They just want to hear a bunch of lies that'll make them feel better. That's why the world is so messed up, because people want to believe in lies. They believe in lies they see on TV, They believe in lies they hear from politicians, especially politicians now. I can go on about that. But, and also lies within, like I've seen in religion. There's always bullshit and lies everywhere, and people seem to choose to get caught up in it. And that's why, again, I don't choose to save the world. I choose to save myself. And I encourage everyone to go ahead and do the same thing too. I mean, in a way, I know I'm trying to go ahead and save others by making these videos on YouTube, but I'm just going ahead and at least going ahead, trying to create an avenue in which I can express myself and my truth as much as I can. And if the people don't listen, people don't want to hear it, then whatever. At least I'm going ahead and I'm living my life. I'm not hurting anybody. And I'm choosing to go ahead and take advantage of fulfilling a higher purpose with myself. And I encourage you all to do the same thing. Anyways, that's it for this video for tonight. If you like what I have to say, or if you don't like what I have to say, you can go and comment. And if you appreciate my content, go and subscribe. And if you want to share this to other people, feel free to do so. Bro, you a god. Nah, man, I'm not a god. I'm just a regular person like you. You're welcome. I appreciate it, but to me, I put it this way. How can I put it? I don't believe that I am a powerful person. I don't believe in God or whatever, but I do believe in myself. You got to believe in yourself and trust yourself. You can't do the same thing with everybody. That's why, again, you cannot, that's why, again, believing in yourself and understanding that you can't expect nothing from anyone given what goes on with most people. That's all you can do. Anyways, peace out. You have a good night. I don't know when I might do the next video, but next time, I'll see you guys. Good night.